I'm here.
Good morning, Mr. Peter.
Morning, buddy. Good morning.
What's on the got the hat on backwards? Good, good. What are you grateful for today?
We'll start with vitamin G. I know that I just chuckled to myself about something a minute ago. I am grateful today that I'm grateful that I get to spend my morning paying and supporting a lot of people when they work for me in the UK. So I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do that. I'm also grateful for the fact that I got to go to the gym, which was very cool this morning. And then I'm grateful that we had a call about with our community about Healthy Once and for All, my Healthy Mindset Rebels, which is the program Healthy Once and for All. I'm grateful that we got to have that as well. What about
Beautiful.
you? Taking your vitamin G this morning?
I'm grateful that tomorrow I get to drive over to Colorado with my family and support Zachary and celebrate him as he gets to the next stages in his career, where he gets his white coat and he's got 1 year of clinicals before he graduates and becomes a physician's assistant.
Beautiful.
Pumped, pumped about that. Pumped about that.
Please
Yeah,
give him a hug from me and Dash and tell him
I
congratulations, and we'll see him when he comes back down here.
I will. Have you ever met him?
What? Come on. Come on.
He's not. He hasn't lived with us, so I'm just curious.
Remember, it was your birthday last year and he came down to surprise you when I spent a bit of time with him. Remember, he took me to, because he used to work for In-N-Out Burger, right? He took me to
Hmm.
In-N-Out Burger and showed me loads of the secret menu. So he
Oh,
showed me
okay.
what a 4x4 was and what protein style is, and what he was taught me what animal style is. And yeah, yeah, we went,
Hmm.
I think we went to In-N-Out, me and him twice actually together.
Probably did. Probably did. I wasn't that. I Now that you talk about that for my birthday, he was here and you were here too. So anyway,
That's so
that was
good.
last May.
What are we talking about? It's coming up very soon as well, isn't it? This birthday of yours, it's coming around again.
Another one's coming. Yeah, I think
Yeah, it's
so. Coming
coming.
around the corner.
Coming.
No,
What are we talking about? What is this week's topic? Give it to me, my man.
environment and like influencing, right? What if I told you you're influencing people's health every single day and you're not saying a word?
That sounds pretty cool to me. That sounds
So
awesome.
we've grazed on it. We really haven't talked about this. I'm the one that kind of came up with the idea of what we're going to talk about today. So you're in the dark, but think about influencing, talking about environment. We go deep into influencing when we talk about neurology. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about how we influence people that are around us.
Yeah.
And it becomes like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
This ripple effect is so let's talk about your environment. In the last month, your environment's changed.
Massively. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So what's different today than it was a month ago?
Living.
Around health, around food,
Yeah.
around
Okay.
these
All
types
right.
of things.
Okay. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for me around that aspect of Ripple is that living right now with you and Steph has been a great effect because it showed us more healthy options in a lot of aspects. And then the ripple effect of being close to the gym instead of it being out there. And so that's now easier to get to. The food quality that is over here in the US and it's easier to read is a ripple effect. Again, from you teaching me about that. So I'm going to relate this back to you. The environment that I'm living in, the ripple effect of what you and Steph are doing and everybody around us is
Mhm.
making my health way better. And
Okay, so let's
genuinely,
go back to a month ago. What was let's talk about our environments prior to Healthy Once and for All. Where was it when you
oh, you
first got
mean,
started? What
I
who
mean,
who
that's
was
what,
your influencers around food
that's
back
three
in the
years
day
ago.
before you came in contact with this?
That's coming up to 3 years in July. So I think we started working together properly in, it's 2.5 years now, actually, because I think we started working together in August, September of 2023. I think, yeah,
Okay.
2023. I know you get a little bit mixed with dates because you got so many traveling dates for Tony and everything else. So all the Tony events mingle into one. So yeah, that's when we started, I believe. And my environment back then was, I was always fighting against yo-yoing because I was always wanting to be on a diet. So in my mind and my way was, for me to lose weight, I was permanently going to be on a diet. So if someone asked me, "Oh, why are you eating that?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'm on a diet." And then I love the guy to bits who used to help me out. So I won't mention his name. He was a scientific dietitian. He helped me explicitly at times in my life prior to this. I just at that time didn't understand what the difference was, and the word and the terminology that I was using permanently was I was on a diet. So that just permanently made me feel not great. And then when I met
Mm-hmm.
you, it was the first thing you said to me is, "This is not a diet. This what we're going to be doing for the next," at the time it was 12 weeks. Now we're changing it to 8 weeks. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. And then we went into the program, and then all of a sudden the environment changed, and you taught me a lot. And that environment for me, the ripple effect was, you was doing it. That was the thing, is that I came over here and came to your house, the first ever time I came to your house, February 2025, and seeing that you were doing it all. And then we spent time together in Dallas, where I watched you, because we spent a few days together. I watched you get up and drink lemon and salt water in the morning, and I watched you do the 100 push-ups in the morning, and I watched you do the squats in the morning, and I watched you do the things that you were teaching. So then it becomes this whole, and you weren't saying to me, "Are you going to do your push-ups now? Because that's what's on the program." You were just doing it. You weren't saying anything. And from that thought process, I was like, okay, well, he's living it. So if he's living it, then it's good enough for me. And that's how the environment for me, there was two different environments. One was a diet and I wasn't around the right people. And now it's a lifestyle change and I'm around the right people.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. As you were sharing that, I'm going back in my mind, and I'm going to go back further than that. I'm not going back to the time right before you to join the program or where we created the program. I'm thinking back about when I was growing up. When I was growing
Okay.
up, we ate the foods that my parents gave us, right?
Yeah.
And I grew up in a bigger town in North Dakota, which would be like 12,000 people, which is nothing to the bigger cities out there. But we ate what the land gave us. I'm at that age where we just didn't go to the supermarket and get a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff my parents canned. We did those types of things. We had a half of a cow or a cow butchered and we put it in the
Wow.
freezer. We canned tomatoes, we canned pickles, we canned all the stuff that we could. And then my dad had some friends where the men would go out and they would plant a whole bunch of potatoes. And at the end of the year, us and the parents, the dads, and the kids would go out and we would take all the potatoes and put them somewhere where during the winter we could go get potatoes when we needed them so we could use them. If my dad and mom would run out of canned tomatoes, I don't remember them ever running down to the store to get them. I don't know if they didn't have them or it was just that my mom and dad just couldn't afford it or whatever it was. So that was my environment growing up. And so when Steph and I got married and we were living in that same town at the time, we had Alex, and Alex is 4 years old. And this is a cool story about how convenience started to take over our lives. And so Alex is 3 years old. I remember it was his birthday. His birthday was like in the middle of the week, and picked him up from daycare at, I don't know, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. We were running late. We had nothing in the house for food. And because it was his birthday, we said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And at that time, he loved broccoli and I believe green beans. I think it was broccoli and green beans. He loved broccoli. He goes, "I want broccoli and green beans." And Steph in our heads, we go, "Oh, shoot, we got to go to the grocery store. We got to go home. We got to cook it, blah, blah, blah." And we're like, "Alex, let's just go to McDonald's. Let's just go to McDonald's." And he's, "No, I don't want McDonald's. I just want broccoli and green beans." So after Steph and I went through this work, we think back about that time when we're having this conversation with Alex, it sounds like a Saturday night skit
Yeah.
because the kid wants to eat broccoli, parents want to get McDonald's for him, and here we go, right? And so we fast forward, and then Steph and I 20 years ago, we realized that the most important thing in our lives is our health.
Yep.
If you don't have your health, I've heard this said before. Each person in the world, if you look at it, we have hundreds, thousands of problems that we get to face until you're sick. And then all of those problems go away and you only have one. And if you're sick enough, if you're diagnosed with something, everything falls to the wayside and everything that was a problem doesn't even exist anymore. So you have to have your health. And when we got into creating Healthy Once and For All, it was about creating energy. We wanted to create a lifestyle so you had energy so you could go do the things you wanted to do, right?
Yep.
And so as we started to change things around, we wanted to involve the kids. And so what we did was something that to this day, and this is what we're talking about, the ripple effect. Alex is 12, Zach is 6. We're just getting into this healthy lifestyle. And so what we did on Saturday or Sunday mornings, it just depended on the week. We would take the two boys and we would leave. We would go to a coffee shop or something and we'd sit down at the park, and then we would all decide on what we're going to do for that week. And so it had to do with the schedule of the week. And then today, you know what it's called at Healthy Once and For All. It's called Prep for Peace. We were prepping for peace for the week. That was it. And that had a lot to do with prepping our food for the week. And so we involved the kids. And this is where I like to tell people when I get to this part of the story of telling the story is this is a non-judgmental zone. Just don't judge me for what I'm going to say next. So while the kids were that age, we chose that during the school year for 9 months out of the year, that when they were in school, Monday mornings to Friday nights, there was no electronics in the house. So kids like to play electronics. And I will tell you, you know what? If you've ever watched a movie and you've seen a heroin addict try to get a fix, our 6-year-old Zach, he was a genius. He was like the best salesperson in the world. The first couple of weeks of school, he would come home and he'd go, "Hey, Dad, let's just sit down. Let's just have a little conversation. Dad, you know what? If you give me 15 minutes, that's all you have to do. 15. Just let me play my game for 15 minutes. I won't ask the rest of the week." I'm like, "No." Then you get mad and leave, right? But gradually that happened, right? So what we would do with that is we created a family meal plan for the week. So we would get together on Saturdays with them and we would have a list of foods. We'd have a list of proteins, chicken, steak, hamburgers, blah, blah, blah. Then we'd have vegetables and have starches or whatever. And on Mondays, Zach was the youngest, so we went from youngest to oldest. Mondays was Zach Day.
Yeah.
So Zach would get to pick his meals from this list, and then that's what we would have. He also got to pick a family game. We would play a board game every night together.
Yeah.
And so Tuesdays was Alex, Wednesday was Steph, Thursday was mine, and then the weekends was a free-for-all, leftovers or whatever we were going to do. And so we brought the kids in, and here's the cool thing about it. We didn't know this was going to happen. When the kids got to pick their meals, they never complained about our meals.
Wow. That's great.
If anybody is listening has kids, typically you're saying, "This is what we're going to have for dinner." "I don't want that. I want something else." They stopped doing that, both of them, at the ages of 12 and 6. And then we kept doing it for years. But that was a great way. And speaking of the ripple effect, speaking of the environment that you're in, both of our boys, fast forward, one's 30, one's 24 now. They both live in different places and they both still prep for peace. Nice. They still go to the grocery store, get chicken, get whatever they're going to get. They cook it, they get it ready. And so the environment that they lived in, and this is something that Steph and I never taught them. We never said, this is what you're going to do when you move out. They just moved out and started doing it. So I asked Alex, our oldest, one day, I'm like, why do you prepare your food? And he goes, that's just my life. That's how I grew up. That's how it is. So that was that throw that pebble in the pond, and
Yeah.
you got that ripple effect. And from 12 or 6 and 12 to turn to 24 and 30, you look at 2 decades later, all of a sudden, here they are living that environment of a healthy lifestyle. And so
Yeah. And that's
that, I think that's really, it's a great
super powerful.
testimonial that this really does work.
Yeah, it's your habits equals somebody else's future baseline,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what you did for Zach and Alex. And I know from experience that Alex still preps, and I've seen it. I don't know about Zach because, like you say at the beginning of the call, I haven't spent a lot of time with Zach, and the time we spent with Zach was at In-N-Out Burger. But yeah, it's the ripple effect is crazy because it can also work. That's a great story for how it works on the good side. And I'll give you a story of how it works on the wrong side as well. And,
Mm-hmm.
not the greatest of ways. Because when we started first working together, I struggled a little bit with eating chips or crisps, as they're called in the UK. And you asked me a question, a very deep question once about why do I struggle in the evening to stop eating crisps or chocolate, or at the time Haribo. I've not eaten a Haribo for nearly 2 years now.
What the hell is a Haribo?
It's a jelly sweet. It's what you call your Sour Patch Kids or whatever you want, little
And what
jelly.
do you call them?
It's a brand called Haribo, and you have Haribo.
Hairy, like a hairy, like a
Not
hairy
hurry, not
back.
Haribo, Haribo.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And just to let you know, that's the last. This proves everybody the last time Jeff Lobeck went down a candy aisle in a shop or a supermarket, because in the US there is a big section of Haribos. They do loads of different Haribos. So that just proves the last time you went down a candy aisle. That
Well,
proves it.
all
That
right.
proves it,
Keep
bro.
going. Keep telling it.
So yeah, so you asked me a question, and then when I started to look back at the ripple effect, let's call it the pattern, the ripple effect of what happened is I was in my 30s still doing what I did from when I was in 10, 11, 12-year old. And that was every time my mum came home from work, because she was a single parent, and she'd come home, and the first thing she'd walk through the door with was a bag, and in that bag was a chocolate bar, some gelatin sweets, Haribo's, and maybe 1 or 2 bags of crisps. And at 6:30, 7 o'clock every day, that's what I would be eating. Even though I'd have my dinner or my food at about 5 o'clock, 5:30, as soon as she walked through the door. So that ripple effect then created and stayed in me for a long time. And I was still doing that all the way in my 30s. I still now have a dessert or something sweet. It is completely different to what now it's like an apple with yogurt, or yogurt, as you would say, when it's way healthier, and it maybe with peanut butter,
How
because
about apples and peanut butter?
that's what I just said, with the peanut butter as well, because that's a new thing that I am addicted to that now. I really like that. And
Are you
similar,
really addicted? Do you want to? Are you really addicted?
I really like it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
really like it. Do you know what? That's a different podcast altogether for addictions. We could talk about addictions and the 6 human needs. That's a different one altogether. And we'll leave that for a different podcast. And right now, it's meeting 3 of my human needs, by the way. So I'm pretty much addicted to it. Yeah. So then from that now, again, I've switched the environment. That's the kind of story that was in the past that's been brought through. And from working not only with you, but also working on myself and changing what I'm doing on a daily habit. And your habits, like I said before, equals somebody else's future baseline. Now my beautiful wife, because I've changed what I do, now my beautiful wife eats nowhere near as much sugar as the first time I met her. She doesn't drink any Lucasade or sugary drinks. She doesn't drink anything like any sugary drinks at all, because of the baseline that I have. She now does a lot of the stuff that, put it this way, that she's going through the program right now, as you well know. and her numbers are better than my numbers. She did
I
100.
wasn't going to say anything, but yeah,
I'm bringing it
it's
up.
true. It's
I'm
true.
bringing it up. She did 102 this week, and I still do the program with you, and I know you still do the program as well. Yes, and we're living this. We're living it. We're both living it, so that when we teach it, we can honestly stay hand on heart that if someone says, "Do you do this?" or we can say, "Yes, we do." And that's that kind of beautiful story about being able to change someone's perspective and outlook on life and their health without actually even saying anything and without actually posting anything online or without
Hmm.
actually saying a single word, just by what we're doing in private. Both of us in private, we're not on Instagram all the time going, look at what we're eating, or look at how healthy we're being, or look at this, we're in the gym doing this, or whatever. We're not doing that all the time. We may now and then post things about our health, but we're not doing it all the time. So if people are listening to this, when you hear the word influencer, it doesn't mean, and we spoke about this on another podcast, it doesn't mean online social media. We can be influencers, and you've been a big influence in my life. And I didn't watch you through Instagram or Facebook. I just watched you and was around you. And that's the biggest thing for me is the ripple effect of somebody else's standards equals somebody else's baseline.
Say that again.
I
What?
said somebody else's standards
Hmm.
equals somebody else's baseline.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we talk a lot about environment, right? Again, it's the environment of what we create. I have a
No,
question for you.
it's big time. It's big time. And that one of the things that as you were mentioning this, and I when I go out for lunch, if I go out for dinner, I learned from Stephanie something huge. Because when you look at a menu, when you open up the menu, everything that is on that menu is in their kitchen, right? So she does a lot of questions when the waiter comes over. She'll ask them, I want this type of chicken, but I don't want it with this. I don't want it with these potatoes, and I don't want it for the. I would like to have it with these different vegetables over here that's on this other menu. Can I get those together?
Yeah.
And then they say, yes, I can. So she more or less makes what she wants. I do that too, but now we go a little bit deeper with that because in our program, we really talk about seed oils and how you should get them out of your life. Well,
Yeah.
more or less 99.99% of the restaurants out there cook with seed oils. I don't want that in my body. So then I will ask them, how are you preparing this steak for me? And they're like, oh, we're frying it on the grill with oil. And I'm like, I need you to fry it with butter. I
Yeah.
need you to fry that with butter. And so they will. So I am getting what I want out there, but I have to ask for it. But first, you got to get educated on what you don't want in your body and what you do want in your body.
Yeah.
And
Tell
so
me the
that was one of
process.
the things that Stephanie was really good about educating me about going to a restaurant and being able to ask for what you want. You just don't say, I want this meal. You pick and choose what you really want.
You're paying for it, right? And a lot of people get a little bit fearful of that, I think, or they get a bit embarrassed about that. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. It's,
I've been, how many, oh, okay, let me ask you this question and then I'll let you answer it as
well,
well.
just hold on. You just said they feel embarrassed, right?
I'm going to bring you the question up now. It will lead
Okay.
into that, I promise. The
Okay.
question is this: how many times have you been out for dinner and you've changed in the past with people that you've changed the menu and somebody goes, oh, he's an awkward eater? Okay. So
I've never heard.
you've never ever, no one's ever said, oh, he's a picky eater or he's an awkward
Nope.
eater. Okay.
Nope.
Bad question from me then.
Why? What answer did you want me to say?
I wondered if you, the question is, if you've never been with anybody, then that's cool. You,
Nope. Nobody's
you've
ever
been,
been with me.
you've been in a great environment where that is, people don't say that.
Have you?
I've been in a lot of situations where I'll be like, you know what, I don't want that, I want this, and somebody will say, oh man, he's just a picky eater, or somebody will come, the waiter will come to the table and go, they'll go, what do you like? What do you like? And then I'd say it, and I'll change it, and they're like, oh, somebody else will say, yeah, he never can just have anything off the menu. He has to always change it.
Yeah. That and to each his own, right? But for me, this is my body, and you can fuck off.
Oh yeah,
I'm
exactly.
ordering what I want. I'm going to put what I want in my body, and they can call me
Agree.
whatever they want. I've never had anybody question me for ordering different things. I think it's just part of our life now.
Yeah.
And like you just said, I've never had that, and I'm sure someday it'll probably happen, but I really don't care.
I
It's
know,
my
and I
body.
agree. And that's that whole thing of being, that's why I was bringing that up, because of the fact of the fearful people being fearful about asking what they want, because everybody thinks that everything on the menu is set.
Yeah. No, you say the word embarrassed. I think
Oh,
that's
embarrassed.
people are too scared because they will be embarrassed by
Yeah.
asking that. They've
Yeah.
never done it before. Don't, and I'm just sharing with you. I'm a person that I'm shy in certain different areas of my life, but this is one of the things that I get passionate about. It's my body, it's my health, and I'm going to be doing it. And please, if you want to turn your life around, if you really want to turn your life around and get healthy, you have to get aware. You got to become consciously aware of what you're putting in your body, not just food, but your thoughts, all those things. We have a whole bunch of different conversations about that. But when you're going to put food in your body, make sure you know what's going in.
Yep.
Make sure you're doing, when you get into our program, we go into depth about reading labels and doing different things like that. That's just an education. That's just an education of awareness of what's going on. And for me, take pride in this meat suit that we're living in right now.
Yep.
Some people treat it like a woodshed, where you should be treating it like a temple. Treat this temple, and your body can heal itself. Your body can heal itself. You just got to give it the right environment. We're back to the environment. You give it the right environment, the right foods, it can heal itself. We've got story upon story. Peter's met people all over the world that have healed themselves because of what they've done with their bodies. Yeah, I get a little passionate about this, but seriously, if you want to get healthy, you're responsible for it. So we'll have another podcast on that.
I love it when you get passionate. I can see sometimes the camera starts to move as well. I'm like always getting passionate. And one of the things
You
that I
got to
have,
be passionate about something, or might as well not even be alive.
that's very true. And the thing I've become aware of is that people out there need to start. Well, let me rephrase that. Sorry. That was not the greatest language. The awareness that I have come up with is that people out there listening to this podcast have still not pushed the button to subscribe to the page, or subscribe to Spotify or Facebook or Instagram or any of our social media. So please, we thank you from our hearts, both of us. Please go and subscribe to all of our stuff. And the more you can do for us, the better it is. We're growing this, and we want to grow it and grow it. And the bigger we get, the more we can give back and the more we can do for everybody else. And that was my awareness, that some people just need to push that button, that little red button that says subscribe. And that's it. Anyway.
Even if it's not red, you can push it.
Oh yeah, whatever color it was. I like the color red for buttons. It's one of them things where you're like, oh, don't push the red button. Don't push the red
Yeah.
button. Yeah.
Cool. Yes.
Anyway, I went off a
Yes.
little bit. It's my passion about people being. And one of the things, why does this work then? Why does the ripple effect work? Let's talk a little bit about that. Why does the things that we do in private, without saying something, just by example, going and asking someone to change your food on the menu, why does it work?
Okay, you got to ask that. Ask me again.
I'll ask you again then.
Yeah.
Why does the ripple effect work? Or
I would
why
have to say the real. Let me finish.
I was just
Be
changing the
quiet.
question a bit.
Ask a question. The ripple effect works because what happens is, if someone, and we'll use this as an example, you go to the restaurant and the people you've hung around with call you picky. If you want to be picky and you order the right foods and you order the right things that they're cooking it in and those types of things, what the reason the ripple effect works is because they see the results in your life. They see that you have the body that they want. You have the energy that they want. They're looking at you going, I want that, and I'm looking at what they do, and I'm going to do what they do. So remember when we were kids, and we talked about this before this call started. My parents and your parents on the other side of the world used to say, don't do what I do,
Yeah.
do what I say. So my parents used to drink and smoke. So I look at that and they go, don't do what I do, you do what I say. And don't drink, don't smoke.
Yeah. And luckily you didn't smoke. Luckily you didn't smoke.
Yeah, I've never smoked, never, but I did drink. I used to drink a lot. Anyway, that was, but those are those things. Those are those things. My parents told me not to, but my environment said do it.
Yeah, that's true.
The only reason I didn't smoke is because my grandmother and I had a talk and it hit me hard. And I'm like, that's why I don't smoke.
And you had so
So
much love for
that's
your
what
grandma.
happened. What's that?
I said you had so much love for your grandma because of just tell the story that you told. You said to me when we were walking to
Oh,
drink coffee.
yeah.
You just say
So
that, yeah. I
I'm
like
probably, I'm like 7, 8, 9 years old. I'm at my grandma's house and helping her clean up one day. And we're in my uncle's room, my bedroom, his bedroom, and we're cleaning up his stuff. And there was a pack of cigarettes there. And she goes, "Oh, that's such just a dirty habit to have." And I was very influenced at that moment. My grandma goes, "Are you ever going to smoke?" And I said, "No, grandma, I'll never smoke." She goes, "You're going to be asked later on in life to smoke." She goes, "You remember our conversation and don't smoke for me." And I said, "I promise I will never smoke for you." And I have never smoked. And so that was a point in time. And I still remember it to this day. I remember exactly where I was and what we were doing. And I remember her having that conversation with me. And then as I got older, I got into teens and 20s and stuff. People would smoke and ask me if I wanted one, and I would always say no. I'd always
I
say
love
no.
that story. I love that story. And look at that. And again, we'll talk about the ripple effect because that's what this is about. Because of your grandma asking you that, and she saying, "Do it for me," and you had the beautiful love and respect for her, you never did it, and your kids don't smoke. And
Correct.
your kids' friends, I don't believe, smoke. So maybe they don't, but their kids will never smoke. And I did smoke, right? And when I first met you, I smoked. But because I have more respect for you than I did for the smoking, I didn't smoke around you. You never see me have a cigarette,
Nope.
you know? So I want to say thank you to your grandma. And that's how we create positive ripple effects. We create positive ripple effects because we do the example first. We become the example and stop waiting for anybody else.
That's a really good point right there. You need to stop and become the example for
Mm.
yourself first,
Yep.
and then look for environments to be able to help support you with that.
Yeah.
When you choose to, and that's what our whole community is about. Our whole community at Healthy Mindset Rebels, in the program Healthy Once and for All, that community is for your support. It's so beautiful to watch everybody support each other and cheer each other on. I absolutely, it makes my heart smile every time that I see that happening. When I get to go into that WhatsApp group and I get to see everybody supporting each other, that's the reason that we created it. Steph and I both talked about that. Let's create a place where somebody can come and be able to change, to be able to have that opportunity, because change isn't easy. Change takes, we're habitual creatures. We like to live the same thing over and over again. And we want to change something. And with the environment out there in the world, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but they just want us to consistently keep eating and keep eating the foods that are really not foods. They're just products. We need to start eating real food again and get rid of the products.
And we do it in a safe environment. That's the key, I think, as well. It's a safe
We do.
environment.
We do.
That's
We do.
that's and that was today. That was the thing today's call about being. We create an environment that is vulnerable, honest, and congruent environment where people can honestly say what they want to say about what they're going through at the time to really be create a healthy lifestyle once and for all.
That's a good name for a company. Oh, that's a good name for a program.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I wonder where I
Yeah.
got that from.
I don't
So
know.
insights, because it's again beautiful call, great. We could talk about this for hours and hours on end, to be brutally honest. So, what is the two insights that you've got from this call this week?
The first one is kind of obvious. It's who you hang out with is who you become, and you get to become the example. And the second one would be when you choose to get healthy, when that moment comes, to choose to be healthy, don't be scared to ask for what you want.
I like that.
And what about you?
Mine is the same about become the example first. I really like that one. That's the key one. And then you just, I think you've, believe it or not, I just had an insight right at the end then, which was what you just said for one of your insights, which was when you're ready to get healthy once and for all, don't be afraid to ask what you want. And I'm going to say the insight I got from that is don't be afraid to ask for help. From that statement that you just said then is don't be afraid to ask for help when you choose to get healthy.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Got any more? Anything else?
No, I think I've got loads of stuff and we really want to do more podcasts. So
No. I just asked if there was another insight that was popping through. I
um
know you. I got to keep you line. I got to keep you in line, or you'll go everywhere.
oh yeah, that's true. I'm a bit like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
I am great.
Let's call it a day. Let's call it a day. So I just want everyone to realize we are your wake up call to get healthy once and for all. And we will see you all next week. Thanks, Peter.
See you,
See you,
buddy.
bud. Okay. Later.